Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje ahaitukya pratihataya atma suprasidhati. Sorry. We have to start from second canto. एतावान् सांख्य योगाभ्याम स्वधर्म परिनिष्ठया जन्म लाभ परम पुंसाम् अन्ते नारायण स्मृतिः अकाम सर्वकामो वा मोक्ष काम उदारधी तीव्रेण भक्ति योगेन यजेत पुरुषं परम् अहमेवासमेवाग्रे नान्यद्यत् सदसत्परम् पश्चादहं यदेतच्च यो वशिष्येत सोऽस्म्यहम् ऋतेऽर्थं यत् प्रतीयेत न प्रतीयेत चात्मनि तद्विद्यादात्मनो मायां यथा भासो यथा तमः यथा महान्ति भूतानि भूतेषु चावशेष अणु प्रविष्टान्यप्रविष्टानि तथा तेषु न तेषहम् एतावदेव जिज्ञास्यं तत्त्वजिज्ञासुनात्मनः अन्वय व्यतिरेकाभ्यां यत् स्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा अत्र सर्गो विसर्गश्च स्थानं पोषणमूतयः मन्वन्तरेषानुकथा निरोधो मुक्तिराश्रयः हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So we are continuing our study of Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam in our Bhakti Vaibhava course, and we are on the last chapter of the second canto, chapter number 10, which is entitled Srimad Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. And we did the first 5 verses in the previous session, and today we will start from verse number 6. So Srimad Bhagavatam 2.10.6. Shri Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So, Sarojanandini Mataji, you want to read the verse number 6 and the translation, please?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Nirodosyanushyanam atmana sah shaktibhi muktirhitva yatharupam swarupena vyavastitihi. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The merging of the living entity along with his conditional living tendency with the mystic lying down of the Mahavishnu is called the winding up of the cosmic manifestation. Liberation is the permanent situation of the form of the living entity after he gives up the changeable gross and subtle material bodies.
Hare Krishna. So, Mridula Mataji, read the first verse of this chapter, the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. You are muted, Mataji.
Now am I audible?
Yes.
Shri Shuka Uvacha Atra Sargo Visargascha Sthanam Poshanamutayah Manvantare Shanu Katha Nirodho Muktirashrayah.
Very good. So this is the verse of Srimad Bhagavatam where Shri Shukadeva Goswami says the 10 topics that will be discussed in Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam. In the previous verses, we read how Shri Shukadeva Goswami explained what is Sarga, what is Visarga. And now in this particular verse, and of course we saw atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshanam utayah. That we saw in the previous session. How uti is. What is the uti? Who can tell? Raise your hand. Sthanam is the different planetary systems. Yes, Vamshivardhan Prabhu. What is uti?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. What is uti?
Due to our tendency to enjoy karma vasana, because of that.
Very
we
good.
have the-
Because we have desire to enjoy in this material world, separate from Krishna, this material world is created. So we are responsible for this material world. So like that, the different subjects were enumerated in the first verse that Mridula Mataji read. Then Sri Shukdev Goswami explained the different topics. And now in this verse number 6, 2 topics out of the 10 topics are being described or are being explained. So Meenakshi Vraj Gopi Mataji, what are the 2 topics in today's verse that Sarojanandini Mataji read, verse number 6? What 2 topics do you see described here? Atra sargo visargascha sthanam, different planets. Poshanam, how Krishna nourishes his devotees, protects his devotees. Utaya, uti means the impetus for creation, which is our material desires. That's why this material world is created. Manvantare Shanu Katha, the different Manvartars are described and different incarnations are described. Ishanu Katha, different Krishna Katha is there, different incarnations, pastimes are mentioned in Bhagavatam. And then what are the 2 topics? Look at the first word of the first line and first word of the third line. What is the first word?
Winding up of the cosmic manifestation.
Correct. That is called Nirodh.
Nirodh.
So it is the opposite of Sarga Visarga. Everybody understanding? Sarga Visarga means creation. Nirodh means winding up, the destruction of this world. And Anita Mataji, tell us what is the other topic described in this verse number 6?
Mukti,
And what is Mukti?
liberation.
Liberation. Yes, liberation is permanent situation of the form of the living entity after the living entity gives up the gross body and the subtle body. So Janani Mataji, explain to us what is giving up of the gross body and what is giving up of the subtle body. What is Mukti? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Giving up of material body means dying, quitting the.
Correct.
And giving up the subtle bodies means giving up mind, intelligence, and the ego.
So see, where is Satyarupa Mataji?
I don't know. She is in her grandfather's house.
Acha. Oh, there she is.
Later.
Yeah. Suddenly she appeared. Hare Krishna. So, see, when we die, like Janani Mataji explained, when we die, we give up the gross body. But do we give up the subtle body? The mind, intelligence, ego? That still remains. And that takes us to the next body. Therefore, it is called Karan Sharir. The subtle body is also called Karan Sharir. It is the Karan, it is the cause of us staying in this material world. Because the mind has so many desires. There is still Ahankar. False ego is there. That I am a person separate and I want to enjoy separately in this world. Because of Ahankar, and then we use our intelligence to fulfill the nefarious desires of the mind. So this Ahankar, that I am the enjoyer, intelligence that creates all the planning and scheming, and mind that has all this sankalpa vikalpa. I want this, I want, so many desires are there. So these 3 are they are a team. Subtle body. Mind, intelligence, and ego. False ego. And they keep us in this world. And they take us from one body to the next. So gross bodies are changing. But it is a subtle body that covers the soul and stays with us as long as we are in the material world. But mukti means to be situated in our constitutional position Swarupena upasthita, and that means we give up not just the gross body, but we give up the subtle body also once and for all. In the spiritual world, there is no subtle body. There is no mind, intelligence, and false ego in the spiritual world. There is no Paramatma also in the spiritual world. There is no need because we are directly with Krishna. Understand, everybody? So, we keep changing the gross bodies, but in the subtle body, so many material desires are there, which keeps us in this material world. But mukti means to become completely Krishna conscious, have no material desires, and then when the soul leaves the material world, the subtle body mixes with the subtle elements. Remember, the Brahmanda is covered with the coverings. Or the 5 gross coverings, 3 subtle coverings. So when the jiva goes to the Vaikuntha, goes to the spiritual world, there is no entrance for the subtle body there. The pure soul goes, and the subtle body merges into the subtle elements. Mind, intelligence, and ego. It remains in the material world, and it does not exist anymore. And the soul, pure soul, goes alone into the spiritual world. That is called mukti. So I hope this is clear. Mukti means to get rid, the soul completely gets rid of the gross and the subtle bodies. That is mukti. And nirodha means winding up of this material manifestation, which was created to facilitate the selfish desires of the baddha jivas. Now, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, as we have discussed several times, there are 2 types of living entities. Those who are always liberated, nitya muktas, and some are always conditioned, the baddha jivas. The baddha jiva souls are apt to develop a mentality of lording over the material nature. What is the nature of the baddha jivas? They want to enjoy in this material world. They want to become the controllers in this material world. Therefore, we always like to be in control. And whenever we are not in control, we become uneasy. We become uncomfortable. That's why we have health insurance, we have auto insurance, we have home insurance, we have short-term disability insurance, long-term disability insurance. So why we have all this? Because we want to maintain our enjoyment. We want to maintain our comfort zone. And if there is an accident, if there is health, disability, we want to make sure as far as possible that we keep getting money, because we believe that from money, comfort will come, happiness will come. And if we have money, we have control over our life. Are you understanding the psychology? We think that if we have money, we will be able to control. A jiva, a baddha jiva, all of us, we like to be in control. We like to be in control. And anytime when things are out of control, we become very uncomfortable. We don't like it. We don't like uncertainty. We don't like anything that threatens our comfort zone. How do we make enemies in this world? Who is a friend? Friend is somebody who will supply sense gratification to us. Somebody who will be yes man. Somebody who will help us. If we are sick, they will cook prasad and bring to us. Anybody who is going to become our partner in our enjoyment in this material world is a friend. And anyone who disturbs our sense gratification in this world, anyone who opposes our ideas for becoming happy in this world, we consider them enemy. Oh, this is a vairi, this is an enemy. This is a friend, this is my friend. Like that. But Prahlad Maharaj says in the 7th canto that this is all our mind making friends, mind making enemies. And sometimes the best friends can later on become the worst enemies. So this has no meaning. This is all activity of the baddha jiva, activity of the conditioned soul. Because we want to lord it over, we want to become controllers, we want to become the enjoyers, we are making friends and enemies in this world. Therefore, material cosmic creation is manifested. This is the Utaya. This world is created to give the ever conditioned souls, the baddha jivas, 2 kinds of facilities. my dear friends, please pay attention. Srila Prabhupada is saying this material world is created as a facility for two types of activities. Two types of activities. First activity is, one facility is that the conditioned soul can act according to his tendency to lord it over the cosmic manifestation. First tendency is we become controllers. We become enjoyers in this material world. We forget Krishna. And we exploit this world to extract maximum happiness. Maximum happiness. Just 3-4 days ago, I took care of a lady. She was 75 years old. She overate most of her life, had very unhealthy eating habits, drinking sodas, eating donuts for breakfast, bacon, which is pig flesh for breakfast every day, bacon and eggs, very, very unhealthy lifestyle. And she was very obese. Her BMI was 40. She was very fat. BMI was 40. She had high blood pressure, which was uncontrolled. She had some diabetes also, which was okay, not very bad. But she was obese, she had uncontrolled high blood pressure, and she had high cholesterol, and she had a very sedentary, unhealthy lifestyle. She came with a stroke. And when I was discharging her, she was asking me for a guarantee that the stroke will not happen again. Doc, what have you done to make sure I don't get a stroke again? Madam, I have added Plavix. You're already taking aspirin. I have put you on Plavix. I have put you on a medicine for cholesterol, Lipitor. And you improve your lifestyle and pray to God that you don't get a stroke again. She was very upset. She said, I want a guarantee that I don't come back to the hospital again with another stroke. Otherwise, don't discharge me. I'm scared to leave the hospital. I said, ma'am, you have already stayed in the hospital 4 days. I cannot justify to your insurance company keeping you any longer. You're ready for discharge. You go, you take these medicines. She was very happy, very unhappy. Doc, if I get another stroke, I'm going to sue you. It's my life on the line. I don't want to die. I want to live another 15 years. I want to live to be 90. She screamed at me like this. I want to live to be 90. And in my mind, I was saying, why? So you can cut more birthday cakes, eat more donuts, eat more pigs, and become fatter? Of course, I did not say that because she was not willing to listen. So I told her, let's do some neurological exam to see how you're recovering from your stroke. Repeat after me. Put your hand on your knee. Say knee. Put your hand on your heart and say my. Knee, my, knee, my. Clap your hand, say hurry up, doctor, hurry up, hurry up. Hurry up, hurry. Okay, now say hurry, hurry. Hurry, 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 hurry. Knee, my, hurry, 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 hurry. I said, okay, I think you're good. You're in good shape. And just chanting the names of Nimai and Lord Hari, she also felt enthused and said, okay, I'm ready to go now. I think I'm doing good. I said, yes, you're doing very good. This is the best thing you have done in your whole life. So this is our condition. We want to enjoy. We don't like anything that will interfere with our enjoyment. So one facility given in this material world is enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Buy the best house, get the most high-paying job, marry the most beautiful person you possibly can, develop the best supporting friends who will keep you happy, throw maximum parties, give you maximum gifts, and enjoy this world, exploit this world and enjoy and die. That is one option. One facility, and the other facility gives the conditioned soul, the Baddha Jiva, a chance to come back to Godhead. We have two pathways. We have two options in this world. One, exploit this world and try to extract as much juice, punah charvita charvananam in this world, or utilize this world to get Krishna. What choice do we want? How many of you want to go back to Krishna? Hari Bol. How many of you want to enjoy in this world and stay in this world? Punah charvita charvanana. Nobody. Jai Ho. So all of you are very wonderful devotees. Jai. So that's what Prabhupada is saying. Then Prabhupada says, the material, little bit down in the purport, the material gross and subtle forms, our gross body and subtle body, are simply due to conditioned soul's ignorance. So material body, Sharira, Avidya Jal. Both Sthul Sharir and Sukshma Sharir. Avidya. It is made up of ignorance. Prabhupada clearly says, the material gross body, the material subtle body, both are simply due to conditioned soul's ignorance. And as soon as the jiva is fixed in devotional service to Lord Krishna, he becomes eligible to be freed from the conditioned state. Manmana bhavamat bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evashyasi. You will come to Krishna. Everyone is after some pleasure for enjoyment. We are looking after pleasure. Anandamaya bhyasat. We want enjoyment. Everybody wants enjoyment. But we do not know the supreme source of all enjoyment, the supreme source of all ras. Who is that? Raso vaisaha rasam hi evayam labdhvanandi bhavati. Our Shastra explains that Krishna is Raso vaisaha. Krishna is Rasraj. He is the source of all rasa. The Vedic hymns inform everyone about the supreme source of all pleasure, the unlimited fountainhead of all pleasure, all rasa, is the personality of Godhead, Krishna. And one who is fortunate enough to get this information through transcendental literatures like Srimad Bhagavatam becomes permanently liberated to occupy his proper place in the kingdom of God. So one who understands Krishna in Tattva becomes eligible to go to Krishna Lok. Shama Kishori Mataji, what verse is that?
Evam yo veti tatvatah
Janma Karma Cha. Very good.
Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna.
Yes, very nice. Now, verse number 7. So you can read the verse number 7, Mataji. Shama Kishori Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Abhasascha nirodhascha yatosti adhyavasyate saashraya paramam brahma paramatmeti shabdyate. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme One, who is celebrated as the Supreme Being or the Supreme Soul, is the supreme source of the cosmic manifestation as well as its reservoir and winding up. Thus, he is the supreme fountainhead, the absolute truth.
Jai. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, synonyms for the supreme source of all energies. Radha Purna Shakti, Krishna Purna Shakti Man, Dui Vastu Bheda Nahi Shastrera Praman. So, Sarojanandi Mataji, explain this verse. This beautiful verse from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare.
Can you repeat the verse again?
Yes. Radha Purna Shakti.
The full energy of Radharani.
Radha Purna Shakti. Radharani is the Purna Shakti. She is
Purna Shakti. She is the
Shakti.
Purna Shakti.
Source of all Shakti is Radharani.
Hmm.
She is Urjeshwari. Source of all Shakti, all energy is Srimati Radharani. Radha Purna Shakti, Krishna Purna Shakti Man. Krishna Purna Shakti Man.
Yeah, he is the more
He is the possessor of all the Shaktis.
possessor of all
He is
Shakti.
Shaktiman. Radharani is Shakti and Krishna is Shaktiman.
Yeah.
Radharani is Shakti. Ladini Shakti. Krishna is Shaktiman. Dui vastu bhed nahi, Shastra Praman.
There's no difference between both.
Yes. Radha Krishna eka atma, dui dehadhari, anyonye vilasa rasa aswadana kari. So Radha Krishna, actually there is no difference in them, but for the sake of Leela Ras Aswadan, to taste the different rasas of relationship, they ever exist in two forms. Actually, Radha Krishna are one. Radha Krishna ek atma, but dui dehadhari. Why? Anyonne, with each other, anyonne vilas ras aswadana kari. To taste vilas ras, To taste the rasa of relation, to have relation, Jaiva Dharma explains in the first chapter, to have relationship, you need two people. Cannot have relationship with one. That's why this Siddhanta of Advaitavad, that everything is one, everything is non-dual, the devotees don't accept that. Because to have a relationship, to have rasa aswadan, you need relationship. Shantaras, dasyaras, vatsalyaras, madhuras, you need a relationship. To enjoy, to exchange rasa, you need relationship. To have relationship, you need two individuals. So therefore, a devotee never wants Sayujya Mukti. Okay? So there are different synonyms to indicate Krishna as the source of all and as the possessor of all energies. And this is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam with the first verse. Janmadasya yatonvayaditaratas. That he is the source of everything. Shrishti, Sthiti, Pralaya, everything. Janma Adi means Janma, Sthiti and Pralaya. Everything comes from Krishna. Janmadasya. That is one. Next proof is, next synonym is Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yad jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwan iti shabdate. Now look at the commentary of Srila Prabhupada. Iti shabdate. That the supreme absolute truth, who is advayam, he is one without a second, he exists eternally in three forms: Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan. Now, the Supreme Lord is called Param Brahma. Param Brahma. The word iti used here in this verse, Bhagavan iti shabdate, the word iti used here in this verse completes the synonyms and thus indicates Bhagavan. This will be further explained in the later verses, but this Bhagavan ultimately means Lord Krishna. Because Srimad Bhagavatam has already accepted the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Krishna. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So, Bhagwan iti shabdate, that iti refers to Bhagwan. Three are mentioned, in the end Bhagwan is mentioned. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwan iti shabdate. So, supreme understanding of the absolute truth is Bhagwan. It is not Paramatma, it is not Brahman. And Prabhupada says, the original source of all energies, or the Samam Bonam, is the absolute truth, which is called Param Brahma, etc. Different names are there. And Bhagwan is the last word of the absolute truth. Therefore, Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, and Bhagwan. Bhagwan is the last word. But even with the synonyms for Bhagwan, now there are many synonyms for Bhagwan. Bhagwan can be Narayan, Bhagwan can be Vishnu, Bhagwan can be the different other Purusha avatars. But Krishna is the last word in the definition of Bhagwan, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha matah sarvam pravartate, etc. Etc. means, another verse in Bhagavad Gita is matah parataram nanyat kinchid asti dhananjaya. Besides that, the Srimad Bhagavatam is the representation of Lord Krishna as a sound incarnation of the Lord. Vangmaya Swarup of Krishna is Srimad Bhagavatam. And what is the proof? Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.43. Krishne swadham upagate dharma dhyanadibhi saha kalau nashtadrishameshaha puranarko dhunoditaha. Krishna swadham upagate, when Krishna went to his own eternal abode, Goloka Vrindavan, after winding up his pastimes in this material world, and Krishna didn't go alone. He went with Dharma, Jnana, Adi. All the good qualities went with Krishna. Dharma went, Jnana went, Vairagya went, everything went with Krishna to his abode. And therefore, what was the situation of all the people in Kali Yuga? Kalau nashta drisham. We all became spiritually blind. We lost our vision. We lost our vision. There is a book by His Holiness Srila Kadamba Maharaj, and it is on Guru Tattva. His Holiness Kadamba Kanan Swami Maharaj has authored a book on Guru Tattva, and Maharaj wanted the front cover of the book to show a particular image. Now, there are many things we can put on the front cover of a book that talks about Guru Tattva. We can have the photo of the Guru. We can have photo of the Guru Parampara. We can have photo of Guru giving Diksha. One hand is giving the bead, one hand is receiving the beads. Anything can be there on the, and all are perfect and wonderful. But Srila Kadambakanand Swami Maharaj, he wanted the cover of this book on Guru Tattva to show a ray of light going through a prism, and then rainbow coming out. All the colors are nicely separated, and we can see Vibgyor, violet, indigo, blue, like all the colors are seen to indicate that Guru is not just about a spiritual fashion that I have Guru. Guru is not just for getting liberation from this world. Guru is not someone who just gives us protection. All these things are there. But Srila Kadambakanand Swami Maharaj wanted to show through the cover of this book that Guru gives vision. We cannot perceive what is this light. But then when it goes through the prism, we can discern, oh, this light is made of these different colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we can see. So Guru gives that vision. Chakshudan dilojai, janme janme prabhushe. Agyana timirandasya, kalau nashta drisha. Same thing. Agyana timirandasya, jnananjana shalakaya. Chakshurun militam yena. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Guru gives vision. Guru gives vision. So we are blind. Kalau nashta drishamesha. So what has given us the light to see? Without light we cannot see. Purana Arko. Adhuno. Now in this Adhuna, people criticize Bhagavatam. Arey, it's a recent scripture. We read the original Vedas. They are very old. Bhagavatam is very recent. Yes, it says Adhuna. It is recent. Because it's a special remedy for us. Now somebody gets COVID. They say, I will not take remdesivir. Give me some old medicine. Baba Adam ke give me penicillin. Will it work for COVID? Will penicillin work? No. You need adhunik medicine. Remdesivir. That will work. So for this Kali Yuga, we need a medicine that will work for this age. Puran Arka. Adhuno. Udita. Udita. It has risen. It's always there. Srimad Bhagavatam is always there. Harinam is always there. But now in this current situation, current scenario, it has risen to give us light. Arka. Arka means sun. Srimad Bhagavatam is like the sun giving us vision. So, this is Srimad Bhagavatam. And now I request Shamchandra Prabhu to read verse number 8, Sanskrit verse and the translation, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Prabhu.
Yo adhyatmiko ayam purushah, so asav eva adi daivikah, yas tatro bhaya vichedah, purusho hi adi bhautikah. Translation: the individual person possessing different instruments of senses is called adhyatmic person. And the individual controlling deity of the senses is called Ādi Daivik. The embodiment seen on the eyeballs is called Ādi Bhautik person. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So don't get confused. Srila Prabhupada is going to make it very simple in the purport. The supreme controlling Samam Bonam is the personality of Godhead Krishna. And in his plenary portion of Paramatma, Satyarva Mataji, explain who is Paramatma, which incarnation becomes Paramatma.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Kshirodakashayi Vishnu becomes Paramatma.
Excellent. The third Purusha becomes Paramatma. Very good. Excellent. So the Supreme Lord in the plenary portion in the form of Paramatma or the Super Soul manifestation. In the Bhagavad Gita, in Sri Bhagavad Gita 10.42, it is said, Athava bahunaitena kim nyatena tavarjuna vishtabhyaham idam krishnam ekam shena sthito jagat. All the controlling deities like Vishnu, Brahma and Shiva, are different manifestations of the Paramatma feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, who exhibits himself in such manners by entering into each and every universe generated from him. Andantarastha, Paramanu Chayantarastha, Govindam Ādi Purusham, Tam Aham Bhajami. But still, even though Krishna is present everywhere, apparently there are divisions of the controller and the controlled. For example, in the food controlling department, who is the food controlling department head? Anita Mataji's head in her house, Saroj Nandi Mataji's head in her house, Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji's head in her house, Shyama Kishore Mataji's head in her house. The wife, the Mataji of the house, they are in charge of the food controlling. They control the food. So, for example, in the food controlling department, the controller of food is a person made of the same ingredients as the person who is controlled. Now, there is a child in the house. He is controlled. And the controller is the mother. She is controlling the food department. When the child will have milk, when the child will have roti, she controls. But both the mother and the child are made up of the same ingredients. Their bodies are made of the same ingredients. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, same thing. But one is controller, one is controlled. The mother is the controller, the child is the controlled. Similarly, each and every individual in the material world is controlled by the higher demigods. Now, similarly, that mother who is the controller of the child, that mother is under the control of the devatas. All of us, all human beings are under control of the devatas. Every organ of our body, every indriya of our body is controlled by some devata, some demigods, higher demigods. For example, we have our senses, but the senses are controlled by superior controlling deities who are demigods. We cannot see without light. Now, can the eyes see without light? Can we see in darkness? No. Eyes can see, but eyes need light to see. Now, light is supplied by the demigods. So, for example, we have our senses, but the senses are controlled by superior control. We cannot see without light. And the supreme controller of light is Surya Dev, sun god. The sun god is in the sun planet. He lives on the sun planet. Vivaswan Maharaj lives on the sun planet. And we, the individual human beings or any other being, live on this earth. We are all controlled by sun god as far as our seeing with the eyes is concerned. Correct? Seeing with the eyes, we are controlled by sun god. He is the controller and we are the controlled. Similarly, all the senses we have are controlled by superior demigods, who are also as much living entities as we are. But one is empowered while the other is underpowered. Controlled. One is controller, one is controlled. Surya Dev is controller, we are controlled. Varun Dev is controller, we are controlled. Vayu Dev is controller, we are controlled. So like that. But their body also is material body. Our body is also material body. The controlled living entity is called the Adhyatmic person. So Prabhupada is explaining the verse. The verse seemed a little cryptic. Prabhupada will make it very simple. So who is the controlled? So we are controlled. Surya Dev is the controller of light. We are controlled. So we are the Adhyatmic in this verse. We are the Adhyatmic because we are controlled entity. And the controller is Adhidevik. We say na? Adhidevik Klesh. Klesh caused by natural disasters. Like tornado. Who is sending tornado? Vayudev. Hanumanji's father. So like that. That is Adhidevik. The demigods, controllers. They are Adhidevik. The controlled is Adhyatmic. All these positions in the material world are due to different fruitive activities. Remember in the first canto we were reading, Prabhupada was explaining that Columbus discovered America. When the 26th December, Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj gave the Bhagavatam class, this verse was there. Purport Prabhupada was saying that Columbus is given credit for discovering America. Actually, Prabhupada writes in the purport. We also read this in Bhakti Vaibhava. Prabhupada says that Columbus did not create America, But he's given so much credit. In America, there is Columbus Day, where all the federal offices are closed. The VA hospitals are also closed. Of course, the corporate world doesn't observe in America, but most of the government-controlled entities, they observe Columbus Day as a holiday, in observance that Columbus discovered America. But actually, America already existed. So, Prabhupada in that purport writes, Columbus is given so much credit for having discovered America because in his previous life he had committed some pious activities, and therefore he was empowered. So anybody who is doing some great work even in the material realm, it is because of some fruitive activity, some pious activity. It may not be adhyatmic sukriti. It may be some mundane punya sukriti. But without sukriti, one cannot have any of these opulences. Either fame, power, beauty, strength, we cannot have. It's all because of previous pious karma. Prabhupada is saying all these positions in the material world are due to different fruitive activities. Somebody becomes prime minister, president. It is definitely because of previous some mundane punya karma. Any individual living being can become the sun god or even Lord Brahma. Prabhupada is saying any jiva can become Brahma. Any jiva can become Surya Dev, the controller. Now we are controlled. But with proper punya karma, we can become controllers. That's how this material world is designed. So many people now, I see so many medical students. So they were first kindergarten, elementary school, middle school, high school. Then they go to college. Then they work as some scribe in the ER. They work as medical assistants. Then they apply for medical school. Then they become medical school students. Then they go for residency. They go for fellowship. Then they become attending physicians. So one may say, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada tells a story, very, very funny story. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ji Maharaj says that there was a boy in the village and he had a habit of going into the neighbor's house, going into the backyard of the neighbor and passing stool and urine there. As a child, they were playing potty aa gayi to chaddi niche karke baith gaye. Once he passed stool and urine in the backyard of his neighbor. And the neighbor saw and said, chastised, hey, you should go to the bathroom and do it. Why you're doing in my backyard? Nonsense. Chastised him. Now this boy, he went through school, he grew up, became a big boy, then went to high school, went to college, went to law school, and went up the ladder in his career, and he became a Supreme Court judge. And then after many, many decades, he came to his village. And there was a big celebration. Oh, our village boy has become a Supreme Court judge. So people were, there was parade, people were sprinkling flower petals on the road when he came from the railway station. And they told this neighbor also, that that Raju, he has become a Supreme Court judge, he's coming, come. There is a felicitation program for him. He said, Raju, why should I come to, he was passing stool and urine in my backyard. Why should I come and felicitate him? So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada says that we should not delve in the past. Yes, he was passing stool urine in your backyard, but it has changed. That person has changed. Now he has evolved. He has become a very refined person. He has become a Supreme Court judge. Don't be fixated on the past. Similarly, a devotee may have been silly, may have been very naughty in school, but now he has become a sannyasi, he has become a very big devotee. So are you going to say, he was just passing stool and urine in the school? No, not like that. Now he has evolved. You see the present. Krishna doesn't see the past. Apichet suduracharo. Sadhu reva samantavyam. He will become a sadhu. Shiparam bhavati dharmatma. Like that. So we should not delve in the past all the time. We should look in the future. So Prabhupada is saying, the point is, Prabhupada is saying, a jiva may be an insignificant person, fallen soul, maybe a thief, maybe a robber, maybe a failure. But by going through proper training, by doing proper, following the instructions of the Vedas, that jiva can become Surya Dev. That jiva can become even Lord Brahma. For example, now Bali Maharaj, he is a Daitya. right now. Today morning in the Bhagavatam we were reading. But in the next Manvantar, who is he going to become? Who is Bali Maharaj going to become? Raise your hand. Yes, Sharanagat Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat. Bali Maharaj is going to become Indra next in.
Yeah, Bali Maharaj is going to become Indra. So we cannot say, hey, he was a demon. In the last Manvantar, he was fighting and he is Shukracharya's disciple. No, he is going to become the Indra. And who is going to become the Vyas? Yes, Sarna Mataji. Go for it.
Hare Krishna. Is it Ashwatthama?
Yes,
Ashwatthama
he's going to become the Vyas. We cannot say, hey, he killed Pandava children. I will not accept him as Vyas. Well, he went to Barsara, he chanted Radhe, Radhe, Radhe. So anybody can, by doing bhajan, anybody can be promoted. So like that. Any individual can become in this material. Now, that which distinguishes the controller and the controlled, that is the material body. The material body distinguishes, no? So do we have the body like Surya Dev, where we can make Kunti pregnant through the ear and make Karna appear from the ear? Can we have the power like Surya Dev? No. So Surya Dev's body is different, our body is different. So this difference in the controller and the controlled is based on the material body. That which distinguishes the controller and the controlled, that is the material body, is called Ādi Bhautik Purush. Third definition. In the verse, 3 terms were introduced. Ādi Daivik, Adhyatmik, Ādi Bhautik. So Ādi Bhautik is the body, and the Ādi Daivik is the controller, the Surya Dev, and Adhyatmik is the Jiva who is controlled. And the vaya medium between them, the material body, which distinguishes, is the Ādi Bhautik. The body is sometimes called Purush, as confirmed in the Vedas. Sava Esha Purusho Anna Rasamayah. This body is called Anna Rasa embodiment. Anna Rasamaya. What is this body called? Anna Rasamaya. This body depends on food. It depends on Anna. Seya Annamrita Pao. Radha Krishna Gunagao. Preme Dako Chaitanya Nitai. The living entity which is embodied does not eat anything. However, because the owner is spirit in essence. So the material body is eating and requires food, Anna. But does the spiritual body need Anna? No, it does not need Anna. The material body requires replacement of wearing and tearing like a mechanical body. Therefore, the distinction between the living entity, which does not require Anna, and the controlling planetary deities is the Anna Rasamaya body, the vaya medium, Ādi Bhautik. The sun may have a gigantic, now listen carefully. The sun may have a gigantic body. Huge sun is so many times bigger than the earth also. The sun may have a gigantic body. And we, the man, may have a very small body. But all these visible bodies are made up of matter, ultimately. The Surya Dev's body also is made up of matter. Our body is also material body. Nonetheless, the sun god and the individual person, us, who are related as controller, Surya Dev controller, and we are controlled, are the same spiritual parts and parcels of the Supreme Being. Mama Amsha Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Surya Dev also is a Amsha of Krishna. We are also Amsha of Krishna. That similarity is there. Even though there is a relationship of difference, controller and controlled. And it is a Supreme Being, Krishna, who places different jivas, which are his parts and parcels, in different position. You become Brahma, you become Saptarashi, you become Indra, you become Jiva, you become animal. It is Krishna who is putting his own parts and parcels, Mama Amsha, in different position based on their karma. And thus the conclusion is that the Supreme Person, Krishna, Purushottam, is Ashray. He is the supreme shelter. Now look at this beautiful verse number 9. So now I request Aradhya Madhavi Mataji to please read verse number 9 and the translation.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Ekam ekatara bhave yada nopalabhamahe trityam tatra yo veda sa atma swasarya srayah
This last word is very important. Swashrashyashrayah. He is Swa-ashraya. Krishna is Swa-ashraya. He doesn't need any other shelter. He is own shelter. But at the same time, he is Ashraya. He is the Ashraya for everyone. He is Swa-ashraya and he is Ashraya for everyone. So, Swashrashraya Shraya. Like that. He is Swa-ashraya and he is Ashraya for others. Translation. Read, Mataji.
Translation by His Divine Grace K.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Being read by Her Grace Aradhya Madhavi Devi Dasi Mataji. Hare Krishna.
All three of the above mentioned stages of different living entities are interdependent. In the absence of one, another is not understood. But the Supreme Being, who sees every one of them as the shelter of the shelter, is independent of all, and therefore he is the supreme shelter.
Krishna is the... So what is the 10th topic of Bhagavatam? Shamchandra Prabhu?
Prabhu, Ashraya, that is shelter.
That's what is being explained here in this verse. Ashraya. Who is the supreme Ashraya? It is Krishna. Now see, purport. Srila Prabhupada says, there are innumerable living entities, one dependent on the other in the relationship of controlled and controller. That is the relationship. Controlled and controller. But without the medium of perception, no one can know or understand who is the controlled and who is the controller. Without the medium of perception. For example, the sun controls the power of our vision. We can see the sun because sun has its body. And the sunlight is useful only because we have eyes. Without our having eyes, the sunlight is useless. And without sunlight, the eyes are useless. Thus, they are interdependent. And none of them is independent. Are the eyes independent? No, they need light. Now, is the light by itself useful if there are no eyes? What good is light if there are no eyes to perceive the light? You see how there is a dependence, interdependence. None of them is independent. Therefore, the natural question arises concerning who made them interdependent. Who made them interdependent? Now listen to this. This is beautiful. Therefore, the natural question is, who made them interdependent? The one who has made such a relationship of interdependence must be ultimately completely independent. Dekho, when there is vivaha, a boy and a girl, and the purohit, the panditji comes and gets them married. Correct? So now they are dependent on each other, husband and wife. But the person who is getting them married, he is independent. He is not dependent on the husband, he is not dependent on the groom. He is independent. Just giving a crude example, material example. So similarly, in this world, there is a relationship of controller and controlled. Surya Dev is controller, we are controlled. But who will perceive the light of the Surya if there are no eyes to see? So there is an interdependence, and the one who has made this relationship of interdependence must be completely independent. Otherwise, how he can make that relationship? As stated in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, the ultimate source of all interdependent objectives is the completely independent subject. There are different objects which are interdependent. The eyes and the sunlight, interdependent. But there is someone who is completely independent. And this is mentioned in one word of the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Raise your hand. Manju Bhashini Malini Mataji. What is that word which declares Krishna to be completely independent?
Swarat.
Swarat. Yes. Swarat. Janmadasya atonvayat itarata chartesh abhidnya swarat. He's abhidnya. He's complete, omniscient, knows everything, and he is completely independent. Swarat. Completely independent. So that is being described. See, every word of Bhagavatam is so important. स्वराट शब्द पे पूरा ये व्याख्या हो रही है. It is all being spoken about Swarat. So Krishna is completely independent. This ultimate source of all interdependence is supreme truth, Satyam Param, or Paramatma, super soul, who is not dependent on anything else. He is Swashraya Shraya. He is only dependent on himself, Swashraya. He is only dependent on himself, Swashraya, and thus he is the supreme shelter of everyone, Ashraya. Swashraya Shraya. Although Paramatma, now listen to this, although Paramatma and Brahman are subordinate to Bhagavan, we have to note this down. Brahman and Paramatma are subservient to Bhagavan. Prabhupada is saying. Although Paramatma and Brahman are subordinate to Bhagavan, because Bhagavan is Purushottam, or the super person. He is the source of the super soul also. Krishna is source of the super soul, because Krishna is a Ete Chamsa Kala Pumsa. Pumsa, this Pumsa avatar. What is the meaning of Pumsa avatar? Raise your hand in this verse. Ete Chamsa Kala Pumsa. Who is Pumsa? Yes, Janani Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Human form. Pumsa means.
Purush. Pumsa means Purush.
Human form.
So who are the Purush forms? Ete Chamsa Kala Pumsa. Who is Pumsa? Yes, Satyarupa Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Is it Purusha avatars?
Yes. Here Pumsa means Purusha. Purusha avatars. Means Karanadakshay Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and Shirodakshay Vishnu. ये सब भगवान के कला है. These are plenary portions of Krishna. Ete Chamsa Kala Pumsa. Krishna's to Bhagwan Swayam, but Krishna is the source of them. So this Paramatma is Shirodakshay Vishnu, who is a part of expansion of the expansion of Krishna. So therefore Prabhupada is saying that Paramatma, Brahman, and Brahmano Pratishtha Aham. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Brahmano Pratishtha Aham. I am the support of the Brahma Jyoti. The effulgence coming from my body is Brahman, Brahma Jyoti. So who is the source of Paramatma and Brahman? It is Krishna. Therefore Prabhupada is saying that Paramatma and Brahman are subordinate to Bhagwan. Bhagwan is the complete understanding of the Supreme Absolute Truth. Paramatma, partial understanding. Brahman, partial understanding. Bhagwan, complete understanding. In Sri Bhagavad Gita 15.18, Lord Krishna says that he is Purushottam. What is the meaning of Purushottam? Come on, raise your hand. What is the meaning of Purushottam? We have discussed this so many times. Nityarila Gaurangi Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna.
Yes. Specifically, break it down. Purushottam.
Supreme Person.
संस्कृत को ब्रेक करो. Okay, Sarojanandi.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, is it the best among all men? Uttam.
Correct, but Purush refers to what? Purushottam refers to what? Yes.
The enjoyer.
Huh?
Enjoyer.
Purush refers, we just discussed. Purush refers to who? Who is Pumsa?
Purusha avatars.
Krishna is superior to the Purusha avatar. That is the meaning of Purushottam. Purushottam means Krishna is beyond Kshara and Akshar also. Krishna is beyond the Purusha avatars also. Krishna is beyond Mahavishnu. Krishna is beyond Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Krishna is beyond Shirodakshay Vishnu. One who is Uttam, above the three Purusha avatars, is called Purushottam Krishna, our Purushottam Krishna. Yomamevam asamudho janati Purushottamam sa sarvid bharate mam sarva bhavena bharat. This is our Krishna. So Purushottam means Krishna who is above the Purusha avatars also. That is Krishna. So much is there in Srila Prabhupada's purport. Let's go down. Now, if someone argues that no, the Jiva and Krishna is same, then Prabhupada gives the explanation. Go down. The Lord can remember such millions and billions of years, as stated in Sri Bhagavad Gita 7.26, as follows. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani cha Arjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana kaschana. Vedaham samatitani. Krishna knows everything. Vartamanani cha Arjuna. Oh Arjun, I know what is happening in the present. Bhavishyani cha bhutani. I know what will happen in the future. And I know what has happened in the past. But mam tu vedana kaschana. Me, no one knows. This is Krishna's position. He knows everything, but nobody knows Krishna. Krishna, in his eternal blissful body, Satchit Ananda Vigraha of knowledge, is fully aware of all that happened in the past, all that is going on at the present, and also what will happen in the future. All the struggles we go through, my dear friends. Every time we fight against temptations, we fight against laziness, complacency, we fight against the anarthas in our mind. Krishna knows how sincerely we are struggling or how insincerely we are struggling. Krishna knows both. So it's best to be very sincere. Vedaham samatitani. Krishna knows everything. So, but in spite of Krishna being the shelter of both the Paramatma and Brahman, persons with a poor fund of knowledge are unable to understand him as he is. Mam tu vedana kascha. Naham prakasha sarvasya. Yes, Nityalila Gauranga, you want to say something?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanavad Pranam. So I am a little confused, I think, in this verse. So there are three levels, right, which are interdependent. One is Adhyatmika person. Second is Ādi Daivika and Ādi Bhautika. So those three are interdependent, right, on one another. That's what is being said. So our eyes, yes, we have to depend on sun to see, but the soul is not dependent on these two, right? Or
soul is separate. Soul is different. Yes, soul is not dependent.
Okay.
The body which is Anna Rasamaya, the body which is Anna Rasamaya is dependent, but the soul is not dependent.
Okay. So then all three are not interdependent, right? So then Adhyatmika is the soul. Is it?
No, the three are, so Surya Dev with his material body, bright effulgent Surya Dev who lives on the sun planet. That is one. That is Ādi Daivik.
Okay.
Then the Jiva who identifies with the material body, not the spiritual self-realized soul, not one who is Swarupena Avasthiti, not that one who is completely situated in the proper position, not that, but the Jiva who identifies is the Adhyatmik, who considers this body to be, or this self to be, the Atma, that person. And for that person, the body is the Ādi Bhautik, the via medium. So these three are interdependent.
Okay. So since the soul is identifying and conditioned, so that's why it needs the body to get out of it, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Same body with which you are identifying, if we use this body to just enjoy, it will bind us. The same body, if we use it to serve Krishna, then the same senses that we are enjoying, if we engage these senses, karmendriya and anandriya, in the service of Krishna, then it will lead us to Krishna, out of this material world. Sorry, you were saying something?
Yes, Prabhuji. Another question I had, we refer to the Purushottama from the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So it mentions Kshara and Akshara living entities. Kshara and Akshara it mentions, right? So does Kshara or fallible means, infallible means also the Nitya Siddhas,
Nitya Siddhas are Akshar, Nitya Siddhas are Akshar, and Kshara are the Baddha Jivas.
Okay, so because we mentioned also the Purusha Avatara, so I was just making sure that that understanding is correct. So
Akshara means the Nitya Siddhas who live in the spiritual world, and Krishna is even superior to them. So it's not that when we become liberated and we enter the spiritual world, we become equal to Vaikuntanath just because we have entered Vaikuntha. Even there, the Sevya and the Sevak Bhav will be there. I am Sevak and Krishna is Sevya Vastu. He is to be served. That remains there. Therefore, is Purushottam.
okay, so it's not that Akshara is the Purusha Avtaras, right? It
is over there in Bhagavad Gita, it refers to the Nitya Siddha Jivas, the perfect persons.
Okay.
Krishna is superior to them, and Krishna is superior to even the Purusha avatars as Purushottam. So he's superior to the Kshara, he's superior to Akshara, and he's superior to Purush. He's Uttam. Uttam Shlok. Uttama Shlok Krishna. All three.
Got it. Thank you so much. Prabhuji, if you don't mind, I have one small last question. So while we were doing, I remembered that. So what was the question? So when we say that when we get liberated, Prabhupada says that subtle body also we leave. But I remember reading somewhere that Prabhupada says that we don't leave the mind, but the mind gets spiritualized. So I was confused at that time, and now I remembered that I wanted that answer. So
so it is just a way to make us understand. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayo. If we are always yena kena prakarena mana Krishna niveshayet, when we always think of Krishna, then our mind becomes spiritualized. When we always engage our body in Krishna service, even the gross body becomes spiritualized. Correct? The physical body, gross body of our spiritual master is also considered spiritual, because the gross body is being used in Krishna's service constantly. So is the mind. So for a pure devotee, both the gross body and the material body become completely spiritualized. And the praman for that is sometimes it becomes so spiritually surcharged and spiritualized that the devotee is able to enter the spiritual world in the self-same body, because the body has become completely spiritualized now. For example, Tukaram Maharaj. In Bhagavatam, example is Dhruv Maharaj. Dhruv Maharaj went in the self-same body to Vaikuntha. So when Prabhupada says that, it simply means that the mind, the physical body also, gross body also has become completely spiritualized because of intense devotion. But when we go to the spiritual world, the soul is given a spiritual swarup by Krishna. Srila Jiva Goswami explains this in the Sandarbhas. The Krishna gives a swarup to the Jiva, and in that completely spiritual body, the Jiva will exist in the spiritual world, in Vaikuntha, in the Nitya Leela.
Thank you so much, Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Nitya Leela Gaurangi means Radharani, who is Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, serving Radharani, Nitya Leela Gaurangi Dasi, serving Srimati Radharani, who is Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi in her Nitya Leela. Wow. Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj has given such a beautiful, amazing name. Hare Krishna. Now Shama Kishari Mataji will ask a very difficult question. I can feel it in my heart.
No, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for the wonderful class. I hope we finished. I don't know if I'm asking you before we finish.
It's 9:45.
Yes. So Prabhuji, in this translation, I'm just a little confused. Verse 9, the third line, it says, but the Supreme Being who sees every one of them, which is every one of the three stages, Ādi, Daivik and all of that, as the shelter of the shelter, is independent of all. But the Supreme Being is the shelter of the shelter, right? These three stages are not the shelter of the shelter. So what does this sentence mean, actually?
It should be sheltered of the shelter.
Yes.
Because ashraya hai na? So it should be, sees them as sheltered of the shelter. Because Krishna is a shelter and we are sheltered.
Okay, so that should be a typo,
It should be sheltered, yeah. It should be sheltered of the shelter is one who sees that Krishna, one who is seeing, is independent. So Krishna, the seer, the Supreme Being, who sees us as sheltered of the shelter, is independent of all. We are sheltered, Krishna is the shelter, but Krishna does not have any shelter. He does not need any other shelter. He is completely independent, Swarat. Therefore, he is the supreme shelter, Ashraya.
Yes. That makes sense. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Sharnagat Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for a wonderful class. So, Prabhuji, in that Nirodha 6, text number 6, it is written that soul merges into the existence of the Mahavishnu. So that is after the complete. Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So that after the complete annihilation, soul merges into the Mahavishnu's body, and at the end of the Brahma's day, that is when the Brahma's night is there, then the soul merges into the. Is it true that soul merges into the Garbhodakshay Vishnu's body? And where is it mentioned, Prabhuji? Because I recently used it in one of the class, but I couldn't find the reference, and then I don't know if that statement is right or not.
So when there is partial annihilation, then the jivas, they remain with Shri Garbhodakshay Vishnu. But
Right.
when there is complete annihilation of the material creation, then the whole Mahatattva, along with all the remaining jivas who could not get mukti, they enter into Shri Karanadakshay Vishnu, Mahavishnu. And this I have read in the purports of Bhagavatam, but as far as Shastra is concerned, I have read it in Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ādi Leela.
Okay.
It is mentioned. If you read the chapter Glories of Lord Nityananda, Glories of Shri Nityananda Prabhu, you will see it there. The Purusha avatars, their activities are described in some detail there, and in the purports also it explains. Okay.
Glories of Lord Nityananda. Okay. Thank
Ādi
you.
Leela. You're welcome.
Hare.
Okay. So we'll stop here. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की
Jai.
जय। जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हिताय गौर हरि।